Well, hello, my friends. This is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And it's been a moment since I've been on camera, or since I've kind of had a minute, or had time to just stop and have a little chat with you. But I just needed to take a minute or two I just needed to just rest my mind and let my spirit be quiet. I'm telling you, it's been a draining, just complete draining of all my, energy just to get through the past couple of weeks. But I did miss you, and I thought about you. So I wanted to just make sure that I came back to just say, how are you? How are you doing? And like I say, if you're like me, it has just been a draining 2 weeks. So hopefully we can now just exhale a little bit and, let the energy kind of bring us back up. Just like my cup says, rise and shine. So I'm here trying to be in the moment and rise and shine. And to say, and to just fellowship or to say hello to all my friends. Well, let's see. Well, like I said, I didn't really have energy to do anything else. I just couldn't. Knitting and yarn just wasn't on my mind. But when I finally did get back and start feeling myself again, I remembered that I had not put on my little, the last video I did was this Shrug, Peachy. Peachy, perfect Peachy. You can tell it's late at night. I decided to do this all of a sudden, like at 12 o'clock. I decided, I get in there and hot roll my hair real quick, and I'll put on a little lipstick, and I'll get on camera. Because in the daytime it's so humid. But anyway, my Peachy Perfect Shrug, I had not shared it with you. And I thought I'd come on camera and just let you see and put it on. And I enjoy it. These are not quite things that I have to get used to wearing. I don't know. I guess because they're not meant to like close in front, so I'm always thinking, something is wrong. But it's growing on me, and it's very lightweight, and like I say, it's just perfect for the summer. Just a little something, just to kind of, if you were going somewhere where it might be cool, of course, some people are venturing out. Of course, I'm not. I still haven't ventured out any farther than the grocery store or just where I needed to go and then back in. I don't know what happened to my voice. It was here a minute ago. And I really did try to just relax today and, just kind of do something that I wanted to do. Listen to music, look through some of my stitch books, and, start thinking of, well, what can I do? After all, you know what time it is. It's June. It's my birthday again. June is my birthday month, and I will be hitting the big 7-3. Big 7-3 this year. But I'm going to keep it low-key this year. No big celebration. Nothing a whole lot, no fancy fanfare or anything like that. I just want to come on and maybe share some things with you. I'm going to try to put together some, my son showed me how to scan in my photos. Because, back in the day, we didn't have YouTube and all the fancy stuff we have now. So everything that I have of all my previous craft life are just in regular snapshots or pictures. So he told me to go ahead and start scanning pictures in, and then he would help me. He'd make a slideshow, and then I can kind of present some of that and then come on camera and show you some of the things that, I know, things from my earlier craft life and, you know, things that I have enjoyed doing along my craft journey. So that's mainly what I want to do for my birthday month in June. But that's about it. 73, I don't know. I'm just not into 73. Nothing I can do to stop it, but I'm just not into it. So, you know, things could change, but I don't think so. Well, like I said, this is a shrug that I just did, and I hope you enjoyed it. For those, this is the knit one. And so I had to think of something. I thought, well, you know, usually I do a knit project and then a crochet project. So I thought, well, what can I do from crocheting? What can I do for my crochet buddies? I didn't want anything big. You know, my energy was already low. So I simply thought, well, let me try to make another version. People, there's so much on the YouTube, it's hard to even think of anything now to even make. So I thought, okay, well, since I did this shrug, I will just try to maybe, you know, come up with a nice little lace stitch and do a crochet version. So that's what I'm going to present tonight. I wanted first to just for you to see this one, and then the one that I'm going to present and eventually take it to the counter and share it with you. Don't even have a name yet, but I thought I just want to keep it something simple, short. I just needed something to keep my hands busy. You know, us makers, we just, even if our brain is tired, if our hands can just keep moving, it's like a calming effect on us. And that's all I wanted to have. I just needed something to keep me calm and just let myself just go with the flow. Well, I guess I better switch and let me put on the one that I'm going to share with you, and then we'll go and I'll share the tutorial. So let me go change and I'll be back in just a minute. Well, I'm back. And I feel, I don't know, I feel light and I feel cool, and I don't know, maybe this could grow on me. Maybe I could get used to wearing shrugs more. Very nice. I have to remember though not to sew up the arms so tight. I think that might be, you know, something, you know, it's, I guess in my mind it's like a sweater, but then it's not really a sweater. But anyway, here is Jay's crochet version of the shrug that I was wearing. I thought, well, why not? This one has a really pretty lace back. Of course, when I go to the counter, I can show it to you better. I can't seem to turn around, spin around here and get all out of focus on the camera. So, but you can see that it's really lacy. I made it a nice big open lace so that you can really, so that you can get a little air. And, you know, a nice pretty pastel summer color. It's really nice. So now I just have to think of a name, but the stitch is real simple. It's only 2 rows. And of course, you know, a shrug is just a simple large or rectangle piece of fabric that you just knit, you know, into a nice rectangle or square depending on how many repeats you have, and then you just fold it and sew enough to form an armhole, an arm space. And that's really it. So it's like a win-win. Anyone can do it. If you're a beginner, I think you will like it. I think it will be fun to do. Like I said, the stitch is a lacy stitch. I started out with one stitch and didn't like it, so I did my own thing. You know how I just take the stitch, take whatever stitch, and just turn it in what I didn't need 4. I think it was 4 or 5 rows. I just turned it into 2. I just made it into 2 rows. Look, that's all I had the mindset for, people. Like I said, I just wanted something to keep my hands busy. You know, I didn't want to have to just do a lot of thinking. I just want just to repeat the rows 1, 2, And then, lo and behold, it turned out really pretty. I was so surprised with the lace of this simple little design. And of course, I use my regular yarns, and I'll go with that and give you, some ideas. But what do you think? I hope you give this a try. I hope you too, just like I said, just need a little something to, keep your hands busy, because we're makers and we just love to make. And I thought, well, what could be more you see, this is so hot off look, I hadn't even sewn in the arms, finished the armhole. This is like hot off the grill, people. Like I said, it's 12 o'clock at night. It's just hot. I just finished it. And I thought, let me go ahead and just get on camera and just talk to my friends, just to help me. And hopefully, I don't know, I just wanted to feel that I know that you think about, that you think and that you care about our well-being, and that, we can get through this together. There's nowhere else to go, people. So, I guess you might say we're just stuck with each other. But I'm happy you're here. I'm so happy that I was able to get enough energy to come back on to let you know, we're just real people. And sometimes you just have to take a minute. But I think I'm back now. I think I'm back, and I just believe I can feel your energy. And I know that I know you are going to encourage me as I encourage you. So I don't have anything else, because I don't buy stuff and I don't do all that anymore. I don't have anything to show. I started to order something from Amazon, and I even got bored with that. Maybe I'll order something maybe next week. I thought, Jay, you don't need no more stuff. I've been sorting through some of my stuff during our sheltered in. Man, I got a lot of stuff. So I didn't really want to buy anything. So I don't have anything else to say, but thank you for waiting. Thank you for just letting me come back and just be me, and just let you know how I'm feeling, and where I am in this moment of time that we are sharing. And what could be better than to have good friends, good fellowship, and to have hope against hope that things will change. So without further ado, I'm going to take you to the counter so I can show you the back of this lace and show you how simple and easy it is to do this pretty shrug. Like I said, I have to think of let's see, on my calendar it says, my soul is made of light and love. Oh, I think I will use some of the words off the calendar, perhaps, for this shrug. I'll tell you when I come back, when we get to the counter. All right. Oh, let's get started on Jay's Crochet, this simple, easy shrug. Back in just a minute. Well, all right. Let's have a nice, quick overview of this simple stitch. And, you can decide. Of course, you can maybe think of something else if you prefer to do it with the stitch. A really pretty, if you knew someone that was, something special, someone's birthday, or someone getting married or something like that. Life still is going on, even among everything that's happening. The lace would make a very pretty, maybe a lapkin, an afghan, or something, a baby blanket. But let me do an overview. So here is, I just have it laid out like you would wear it. Here's the front. I just have the stitch creates a little scallop edge, and that's all I left it with. Like I said, it's just a shrug. I wasn't trying to do anything. I just wanted to keep my hands busy, and that would help keep my mind, give me just something to kind of think about. And the stitch just works fine. All right, so now let me show you. Of course, there it is. Now let me turn it over. The back, so that you can see. Try not to hit the camera. Now you can see, and I can even hold it up for you. I just wanted a really nice open lace work. And then I have a nice bottom band. Right at the very bottom. So now, let me show you if I fold it back like when you finish it, and oops. You can again maybe see the lace work this way also. Alright, Boys Yarns. This is number 4. This is Caring Simply Soft. Just using stuff out of my stash. I was just, like I said, I just wanted to. There's how it's seaming up on the side, and there's my little arm space. Anyway, you can, because I do by the number of repeats. So you can simply just follow me as I take you step by step, show you how to make the simple little formula, how to figure out how many repeats, and I'll show you that in just a minute. And then this will work well in any lightweight. It can be a number 3 yarn. This is Caring, like I said, Caring Simply Soft number 4. I wouldn't want it any heavier than that, because it needs to have a drape. Some people, I don't use, someone asked me and says, Jay, when you're going to do some things in some smaller weight yarns? I won't do any garments, because I'm just I'm a fluffy girl. It just takes too long to make something for my size in smaller weight yarn. Hence is why I'm kind of stuck on number 4. But I still understand you need a drape, and sometimes, I've gone down to number 3s, especially when I crochet like tops, because in order to get a nicer drape. But to do, a whole lot of garments, people just wear it. Crocheting just does something to my shoulder that I don't have a problem in knitting that way. So, but this is, like I said, such a pretty lace. You can follow me with any weight that you want. For this number 4 weight, I used a US 5.25 millimeter. I'm trying to learn how to do better But most people can figure it out if you just, or eye hook. See, I just know by letters. That's how we, that's how we was taught when we were young. We just knew the letter. Kind of like learning our ABCs. But anyway, I use the size eye hook. Of course, you'd have to use the hook if you use smaller yarn. That's appropriate for yours, but I would go up in hook size. If it called for a G, I'd go up to the next hook size, just to get a nice drape. Does that make sense? Alright, so it's hard to see because this is all sewn together, but I did want to give you an overview, and the yarn, like I said, any weight, you can follow me on this. So what I'm going to do next is lay it out in my formula style, because most of you that follow me are used to it, and you know that I work from a working formula. I just do something very simple, and not have to worry about 4 or 5 pages or 4 or 5 rows. I try to make it as simple as possible. Alright, let me clear this up, and I'm going to get some yarn, and I'm going to also show you, walk you through the little steps and I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, so now let's get into how to measure or how long to make our chain from a working formula. Alright, here's a little formula. You know how I just kind of write it up. I keep it as simple as possible. I usually work from one line whether I am knitting or crocheting. Alright, so for instance, on my, like I say, I'm using number 4 weight yarn, but the way I do crocheting and by repeat, you can do any yarn, just follow the same steps. I used eye hook because I'm using Karen Simply Soft and it worked out was just fine. Alright, I gather from the fit of this, I can tell after I got through, maybe this will fit a 1X to 2X. At your top part, you know, a 1X to 2X. So the first thing I need to do, or you need to do, is to just make a long chain. I don't know how many chains, and like I said, because I'm going to show you how to use the number of repeats once we start the pattern. But in order to kind of measure, well, you need to know about how long to make the chain. I would make it my wingspan, or go from one side of my waist to the opposite side and then double that. You know, make a chain from one side to all the way to the opposite side and then double that length again, you know, because this stitch will eat up a lot of yarn. In crocheting, to me, crochet stitches eat up a lot of your yarn. So that's one reason I just simply start with a long chain, longer than what I think I need. I'd rather have chains at the end because it's easy to just use that yarn for other things, and you can make a tassel, you can make a flower, you can just do anything. So here's my long chain. This long line right here, I just draw it on with a marker. This long line represents a long chain, longer than what I need. All right. Now, everyone, every size, everywhere, everyone will get a border. B, just like in my knitting, B just simply stands for a border or an edge stitch. So I'm going to use a border of 8 double crochets on this side. After I make this long chain, so you'll know where things fall, I simply take a marker and decide what I want in my design, on my shrug that I'm making. So if I have a border of 8 double crochets on this side, I automatically will have 8 double crochets on this side. Now what's in the middle, just like the piece you see, is the lace, and I'm going to count the repeats. Once we start doing the extra stitch, you'll be counting. You can see columns of repeats. Does that make sense? That's what you count. So, for instance, on my size, for this one here, I had 17 repeats for this one. Now, after making this one, I think I would try next time, I might want to go up. I think I may go up and try 19 repeats. As you know, I like an odd number whenever I'm working anything, as far as repeats or trying to center things, because the odd number will always you'll always know where the center stitch is, or the center back of the piece of the top or shawl or shrug, whatever you're making. If you can work with an odd number or use an odd number, that odd number will give you a stitch in the center. Does that make sense? So I usually use an odd number, and that also gives me positive ease. So this one fit really, you saw how it fit on me, but I think I will do this again probably, but I would go up for my size, for me, for my fluffy body, I'm going to try 19. Now, I could easily adjust the borders, and you can too. Maybe you don't want 8. Let me show you what it looks like with the 8. Here is the 8 stitch borders. Just a nice little double crochets that, that just something to put the lace in the center, and that it keeps it in place, and it keeps a nice firm edge. Does that make sense? And then, of course, when we're done, it's going to give you a nice place where you're going to bring the 2 pieces together, the front and the back, and sew it up or crochet it up, whichever you prefer, or slip stitch it up. and leave a space for your arm. And this works out to be about 7 inches. That's usually what I leave, about 7 inches. And I never tie it off. The arm is the last thing I do, the arm space. See, I can even pull this out. I never tie the arm space off. I always leave that to the end to make sure I can kind of get them about the same. Or if for some reason, sometimes I get my arm space a little too tight, I can pull it back. See, because all I've done is just sew it up, and then I just follow the yarn back a little bit, and I can open it up even more. Does that make sense? Okay, so now I've given you a formula. Now, to show you how we're going to figure out, I'm going to walk you through the simple 2-row stitches, 2-row stitch. You know what's wrong? Oh, it's the midnight hour, people. Oh, it's true. It's the midnight hour. It's nice and cool, and I don't have the crickets at night, early in here. And all I have to do is, once I finish this, is crawl into the bed. Alright, so, alright, let me clear this up. I'm going to get some yarn. You get some yarn. We'll start, we'll work from our formula, and let me show you this simple stitch. Back in just a minute. Alright, so now, this one we'll have to pretend I didn't start an actual, another one. So I'm just doing a sample. So I've made a sample chain just a little longer than what I think I need. Okay? Like I said, you could try to make it as long as your wingspan, or go from one side of your waist across the front to the opposite side, making a chain, and then just double the length of that chain again. Alright, so this will be row 1. This is the right side. Like I said, I took maybe a 4 or 5 row stitch and just picked out what I needed and put my little border on it, and I just turned it into 2 rows. I was happy with that, people. All right, so on the chain, as we have it on our working formula, the long chain. All right, in the 4th chain from the hook, we're starting with the border. Every size, everyone, everywhere, you get 8 double crochets for this. You can change it and make it anything else you want, but I'm just taking you through the steps. So in the 4th chain, 1, 2, 3, in the 4th chain from the hook, I'm going to start the double crochet section, or the border. So I do, and I count this as 1 as the first double crochet, then 2, and then I just go 3, 4, a little yarn, 5, 6. I could have had this part done. Nice little breeze late, or that's almost towards 1. Okay, so I want to wind up with 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 double crochets for a border. Does that make sense? Starting row 1, the right side. Now we bring in the repeats. Alright, from this point we're going to be on the right side. I'm going to be working in, the number 2 is going to be important, because I'm going to simply chain 2, then skip 2 on the bottom, 1, 2, and then I'm going to single crochet into the next chain, just like that. Then chain 2, 1, 2. It's just a simple repeat. Skip 2, 1, 2. Now I'm going to simply do a V-stitch. That is, for this one, it's a double crochet, chain 2, 1, 2. My hand's all in the way, sorry. Then double crochet in the same stitch. Now let me get my hands out of the way, sorry. But everybody knows how to do a V-stitch. There's a single crochet there, chain 2, then a V-stitch, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. This is what we're going to count as a repeat, the V-stitches. Does that make sense? So, now, oh man, this yarn. All right. Now the repeat is just chain 2, skip 2, single crochet in the next chain. Chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2, V-stitch in the next chain. Double crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, double crochet back in the same stitch. Now I have 2. Doesn't look like much yet, but it will. Alright. Chain 2, skip 2 on the bottom. 1, 2, skip 2 chains. Then the next thing I need is a single crochet. Just 2 things to remember. Chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2 on the bottom. And then I need another V-stitch. Chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet for the V-stitch. So now you have something that looks like that as you work your way across the row. You have a long chain, and like I said, for example, I did 17 on the original that I shared with you. If I was doing this again for my size, 1 extra to it, I think I would try 19 just to give me a little more room. Like I wanted to, you saw me kept pulling at it. That's because I'm not used to a shrug. I'm used to sweaters. So I thought, well, maybe if I made it, maybe go up to the next odd number, I would see if that would give me a little more. After all, I am a fluffy girl. But now this is what you're working across your row. So I'm not going to chain 2, 1, 2. If I have a V-stitch, I skip 2, 1, 2, and then I do a single crochet. Just like that. 1, 2, skip 2, and then another. Alright, I'm going to work across my little sample. Maybe I can get an odd number. Like I said, I want an odd number, so I'll see if I can get maybe 7. Alright, I will see you back shortly and show you how when we get to the end. And then, of course, we will turn and go to row 2. But that's what you should have. Your 8 double crochets, and then this is what you count as you repeat your V-stitches. 1, 2, 3. Alright, I'll see you as you get near the end of your row, or if you're just doing a small sample. Back in just a moment. Alright, so I have, on this little sample, I was able to get 7 repeats. 1, 2, we're counting the V-stitches, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You will get however many you need. Well, I guess I didn't tell you how far. Well, we're trying to reach from at least one elbow across your back to the opposite elbow. I guess I should have said that, shouldn't I? So you kind of have an idea, so you know about how to stretch it out on your body to see. Sorry, people. So, but you saw me wear mine. So a shrug is usually, from one elbow across the back to the opposite elbow. So, but you just want to make sure, like I say, you have nice ease so that you can move your arms, your shoulders. All right, I had 17 on the original, but next time I think I'll do 19, just for my fluffier size. All right, so but on this sample, I was trying to get an odd number, so I have 7. So when you get to where you want to stop, yay, I got chains left. Well, I still have to do my 8-stitch border, but I have enough, I believe, in that that's what you want. You don't want to run out of chains, and you have to start over. Because I didn't know how many chains it would take to go from your elbow across your back to your opposite elbow. But anyway, there's my repeats. I know that I want to stop, so I'm going to simply chain 2, 1, 2. I finished the V-stitch. All right, I need to go to the single crochet. So I skip 2, then do a single crochet. I'm getting ready to stop. Now chain 2, 1, 2. Now skip 2 on the bottom again, and now start the 8 double crochets. You simply, after you do the single, because all you have to do if you can't remember, go back. I always make, once I establish one edge, all I have to do is make, where I started, I need to make the this edge match the opposite edge. That's all there is. That's how she rows. Okay, so I had 8 on that side, so I'm going to just simply do 8 so we can make the turn, and I can show you how easy, how I chopped off the next row and just did my own thing because I didn't feel like 4, 5, 6 rows. I just wanted something simple. So let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8. Oops. So can I get a little yarn here? Now you may have a whole lot more chain left, most likely, but it's better to have leftover chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8, and it matches the single crochet and the 8, the single crochet, each end matches. That's how you know you're right. We're designing, people. Now, at the end, when you finish, you're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and turn the work. You will turn the work. Hope you're not as tangled as I am, but then this becomes the row 2. This will be the back of the work, and we will mark it. I still have my thread in from the one I was wearing. I always mark the back side, and it helps, especially those that are new, not to make any mistakes. Alright, so once I turn the work, alright, I simply start stacking. I simply stack double crochets on top of double crochets. So if I had 8 on the first row, I want 8 on this row. This is row 2, the wrong side. Okay, just stop and double check. It doesn't hurt. I count this edge here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm correct. Now, on row 2, like I said, I tried to make it easy. Our number to remember is 3. So I simply chain 3, 1, and chain it real loose. 2, 3. Make a loose chain 3. And then we're going to go all the way over to the next V-stitch. You see it right there. See where my finger is? I chain 3. Then I go all the way over, and I'm going to stack a V-stitch. Double crochet, chain 2, double crochet on top of that one. Does that make sense? Chain 3. 2, 3, real loose. Jump all the way over to the next V-stitch. Double crochet, chain 2. I'm going to scream with this yarn. And then another double crochet in, just stacking on top of that one. So now I have V-stitches with chain 3 in between. Chain 3, real loose. 1, 2, 3. Skip all the way over, jump all the way over to the next V-stitch. You're going to stack, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Alright. Let's see if, I don't know if I can make it across. Let's just see. Chain 2, chain 3, I'm sorry, chain 3. Go over to the next V-stitch to stack. I just see, since this is the last row, 1, 2, then a double crochet, chain 1, 2, 3, move all the way over to the next V-stitch, nothing in between, double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. We're working across the back, or row 2, the wrong side. All right, chain 1, 2, 3, go all the way over to the next double crochet, chain 1, 2, chain 2, go on over. I'm almost to the end. Chain 3, chain 3. Okay, now see, I made that, I was in the chain 2 mode, and I think that was really too tight, so I'm going to pull it back so that I can loosen that chain 3 up real loose. 1, don't pull on it. 2, 3, nice and loose. Now I can jump over. It will fit all the way over to the next V-stitch. I didn't want to do 4 because it would make it too loose. 1, 2, double crochet, chain 2, and then double crochet. Now I'm up to, of course, on my little sample, I'm up to the very end, and I'm going to make this long, I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to make the long jump. 1, real loose, 2, 3. I'm going to jump all the way across to the first double crochet in my border, all the way over here. And I'm just going to start stacking. Let's get across. Let me show you how it looks. Okay, so that's 1 double crochet. I have to do 8. Every one, everywhere, every size. All right, all the way to the post. Just like this. Well, somebody's driving late at night. Okay, now I'm up to the post. Of course, you have to go into the post. And then you, of course, check, make sure I had 8 on the first row. Just take my hook out. So I should have 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is the one in the post. All right. So now let's just check before we flip it over and go back to row 1. There's V-stitches with chain 3, with 3 chains in between. That's all we did. That's all we're doing on the wrong side. And then, of course, you can do it now, or you can wait and do it a little later, but you definitely need to mark. I just try, especially for new crocheters, this will just save you a lot of headache. And I would put 2, because you have such a long chain. I would put a contrasting yarn somewhere on this edge, on this side. Got a little night bug flew in the window. Okay, you just take your crochet hook and some contrasting yarn, see? This contrasting yarn not only lets you know that it's the wrong side, but then you'll get into your mind, I only have to chain 3, V-stitch, chain 3, V-stitch, chain 3. Makes it really easy. So on your long chain, you will have one here, and then you would also put another contrasting thread yarn on that end. I was trying to find one of the same color, but I don't have one. Does that make sense? Just so that you can see it. It's a visual aid. All right, so you'd have one on each end. All right. So once I get to this end, and of course, we chain 3. Everything is the same on each end. 1, 2, 3, because I put this border. I took out whatever she had on the pattern and I put a border. And then row 2, the wrong side. Now we're on the right side again. And that is row 1. And now you just start stacking. 8 double crochets. I want to show you how to work this row 1 just to make sure that you got it down. Yarn, please. Cooperate. The humidity is steaming up my glasses. But it's still much cooler than if I was doing it in the daytime. You see, I have my air conditioner, you know, but I can't turn it on and you wouldn't be able to hear me. All right, so let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just do that every once in a while to make sure I don't forget to go into the post so that I keep the same number. Alright, so now I'm on row 1. And on this go around, this is what I want to show you. This is row 1. The number to remember is 2. So I chain 1, 2. So once I chain 2, now look, you see that chain, you see the 3 chains that I had and I said do them real loose? Can you see that? Alright. Now you could, some people work into the bump. I don't. I take my finger and rotate it just a little bit so I can see the front. And then I don't sit there and try to count. I just aim for maybe the center stitch. So I just rotate it a little bit like that so I can see the front. Put my hook in where I think the center is. I just guesstimate. I'm not going to sit here and run my eyes trying to count. Fine. But I had 3 stitches, 3 chains. So you just look for the center one. And I do a single crochet, chain 2, 1, 2. Now I'm back in business. Stacking. Alright, the next thing I see is a V-stitch. So 1 double crochet, chain 2, and then a double crochet. Chain 2, 1, 1, 2. Alright, now I'm going to go to that long chain in between with that big old space. I rotate mine just a little bit so I can see the front. I aim for what I think is the center stitch. About the center, I do a single crochet. Then I chain 2, 1, 2. Then there's the V-stitch next. You can see it. Let me just move that up a little bit. And I go 1 double crochet, chain 2. Everything's a chain 2 on row 1. Chain 2. Alright, go to the long chain again, that space. I rotate it just a little bit. I aim for what I think or close to is the center of that chain. Do a single crochet, chain 1, 2. Alright, the next thing I see is this stack of V-stitches, and I stack. Stack on stack. So double crochet, chain 2. Now, this is where sometimes when you get tired, you can, once we start this process, it's easy to kind of forget where you are. It's not that the stitch is hard, it's just you got all these chains. Okay, chain 1, 2, rotate, or so that you can go in the center. Just guess where the center stitch is. Out of the 3, you go there, single crochet, now chain 2, 2. All right, then I stack double crochets. Let me go across. I'm almost there. Let's see how quick I can do this, because I wanted to remind you something when you get to at the end. Okay, see how I put my yarn down and maybe I wasn't paying attention. I come back to pick it up, or I had to go check something in the oven, or had to get the clothes and put them in the dryer. You come back, go, okay, now wait a minute, where was I? Okay, I'm on row 1. All right, let's see. Now I don't see that V-stitch. Well, I see them stacked up there. See, if you get lost, pull back. Don't, just pull back so you can see where you are. Okay. I can see I've got the single crochet. I chain 2, row 1. I just work on chaining 2. I chain 2. Now I can stack the V-stitch on top of the V-stitch, chain 2, and then that double crochet there. Chain 2, 1, 2. Go to this long chain, don't skip any, and jump to the V-stitch. You have to go in the chain. Kind of figure out where that center stitch is. Much as possible. Single crochet, chain 1, 2. Open it up. I see I have a V-stitch, so double crochet, chain 2, then double crochet, chain 2. Open it up. I need a single crochet in the chain, in that long chain, then chain 1, 2. V-stitch, that's a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. All right, chain 2, don't forget, go all the way to that long chain. That's a single crochet there, chain 2, then a V-stitch, 1, 2, double crochet. Okay, I'm looking where, okay, so then eventually you're going to come to the end and you're going to go, oh good, now I can chain 2, 1, 2, and you can't jump all the way over. There's still a long chain right here because there's a big hole right there. So this is what I want to remind you. Don't forget this last one, or the next row won't. You can't work the next row. Single crochet in the center of that long chain, chain 1, 2. Now you can go over to where the double crochets start. That's 1, 2, 3. And just every once in a while, just count them. Make sure you didn't drop one or skip one or something or lose one. You should have everyone everywhere. 8. I just put in 8. You just, and then be sure to go into the post, not under the post, but under 2 strands on the edge. All right. Now let's look before I turn the work. That's what you should have for row 1 the second time. I have the back marked now. So I'm not going to work all of row 2, but I want to just, so now we go back to chain 1, 2, 3, and when I turn, of course, I'm on row 2, the back side. I know immediately all I have to do is chain 3, V-stitch, chain 3, V-stitch, chain 3, V-stitch. See how quick it just hit? See, a visual aid. Look, I'm a simple designer, people. And like I say, for some reason, I just, I hear some others say the same thing. Crocheting, for some reason, just hurts my shoulders. Oh, and I've been crocheting for years, just like you. But not, of course, since I've been on YouTube, I've been crocheting a lot more than I would have done in my regular life. Okay, so I've done the 8 double crochets. It's row 2. All I have to do is chain 3, 1, real loose though, 2, 3, skip all the way over to the first V-stitch, and start the repeat of stacking. Double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. See? All right. Now you're just working row 1, row 2, back and forth. Now, let me clear this off. I'm going to come back and show you, tell you a few other things, and then I'm going to show you when you get to the top. All right, so I'm going to work across, and then I'll be back in just a minute. But that's what you should have. Does that make sense? Be sure to put your marks on each side. Just because your chain is so long, you may forget which side am I on. Row 2, all I have to do is chain 3. V-stitch. Back in just a moment. Alright, so you gotta, like I said, you're gonna be working your long chain, row 1, row 2, just back and forth all the way up. Now, what you have to do is aim for the length of your back from the waist to the top of your shoulders. And I just simply aim for, let's say, 20 inches or a little shy than 20 inches. But, is that right? Yeah, Yeah, I kept working it up till I got to around 19, 18, I say around 19 inches, and as I started to work the last few rows, because I want you to keep and continue to work up to the length you need from your waist to the top of your shoulders, or your back neck. And you need to stop on so that you're on the scallop row, row 1. You finish row 1, you see you'll have the little simple scallops. And you just get to the end of that row. See, mine is sewn up, but I'm going to show you in just a minute. So you get to the end of that row right there. And you say, okay, I have, if you're tall, I had to go 22 inches. I had to go 24 inches, whatever your preference for the back of this shrug. Like I said, I was aiming for at least 19 or 20 inches, okay? As long as I stopped on row 1 and I have the scallops. And then I just pull the yarn through, okay? Now, the next thing is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to switch to another little sample, and then we're going to pretend. Because we want to get down here and put on a bottom edge on this shrug. See that pretty bottom edge? Just double crochets. But let me show you. Make sure I have the sample. Alright, so now here's the sample that I worked up. So you can see it's the one, I had 7 repeats on this little sample. So now we have to pretend. So now I'm going to pull in a little bit more. I had to pull out for the... Alright. That ought to be good enough, maybe. Go back a little bit. Alright. Alright, so on my little sample here, we're pretending now that I have worked this up to however many or how long my back is. And I stopped on row 1 so I'd have those scallops at the top. You see the little scallops. Alright, so once I was on this side, as you can see. So I'm going to get my scissors, and I'm just going to cut my yarn. I finished row 1, and I don't want to turn and do row 2 because I want these scallops. So when you know you're done, then you can just cut your yarn. I'm just cutting this little sample and just pull it through like you always do. You can just put it through. I do the extra one. Alright, so then I have my long piece of fabric, my big piece of fabric, and I've held it up to me in the mirror. And so now, when I do my crocheting, some of you, a lot of you that have crocheted with me, all right, now I'm gonna take the top, and I'm gonna take the fabric and turn it around, not turn it over, just turn it around like that. So now the top becomes the bottom, and now this bottom, well, no, I didn't say that right, did I? Okay. This is the top of the shawl that will be at your neck, but I wanted to put that little border, so I need to rotate it. So now that I can work on this edge and put the border. That's what I want to say. Does that make sense? Was that confusing? Okay, I want to leave this little scallop at the neck to make it look pretty, and I don't have to add another stitch to make the edge, the neck pretty. But this bottom edge of the fabric, where we see where I have the chains, where we chained, it just looks plain, and I need to add a border, something nice. So this is what I want you to do. All right, so I've turned it up so I can work. And normally I always usually add on the right side. Normally I just come right over here and start adding. But I found on this one, for some reason, the stitch stayed, it matched these stitches if I simply turn the work to the wrong side. Now I'm at this edge, but I'm on the wrong side because I can see the contrasting yarns. I hope y'all understood that. Let me put it over. Does that make sense? Or should I start that part over? Alright, so let's go with it. So now I can go to this corner right here. And I go into the post under 2 strands. And I'm going to take my yarn, and however you connect. We need to connect this yarn So I can start working on the wrong side this time. And I'm going to just pull, I just pull the loop through, and then I do a single crochet and I tighten it down. I drop my tail, however you connect. I separate the tail and the yarn. Now I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3. After I connect, I chain 3. Now I'm going to take my time, that counts as 1, and I'm going to work across in those 8 double crochets. Just working, taking my time. I'm feeling my way at first. Once we get this row done, then look, we're back in business. It's just doing this first row, and for some reason it just looked better. I started it on the front like I normally do, but it didn't look good. I flipped it to the wrong side, and voila, it looked just right. So I'm just going to keep till I get over here to the end. I'm going to stop and count before I go any further. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm in business. All right, so I have my 8 double crochets. All right, next thing on this row, you're going to see a space and then a single crochet, space, the single crochet, the space. All right, in each space, I'm simply going to do 2 double crochets, just like that. That's how it worked out real good. And then that single crochet right there, can you see it? Right there in the center, I do 1 double crochet. Then I see another nice little space. I put 2 double crochets. Put me some yarn. Okay, I need 2 in the space. Then I see there's that single crochet right there, that single stitch. I do 1 double crochet in that stitch. There's no ruffling, it's not pulling, just check yours, make sure it seems to be flat, and it matches. It looked better to start it from this side. The next thing I see is another large space, so I do 2 double crochets. Then 1 double crochet in that center stitch, and then 2 double crochets in the space. Get some more yarn here. Hold it out every once in a while. Check it. Make sure you have 2. See, I stopped with 1. I can see that I need to put another one if you have to leave it. Then 1 double crochet in that center stitch right there, and then 2 double crochets, then 1 in the center one. Stop, check it. No ruffle, no pulling. Looks nice on this side, which is where I want the nice side to look, because this is the front. The back is marked. I know immediately that this is the wrong side or the back. No guesswork here. Okay, so the next thing after that little center stitch right there, I see there's a large space, so I'm going to put 2 double crochets in there. And then there's that, then 2, 1, 2, then there's, kind of stretch it out, oh there's 1, goes there, 1 double crochet, then 2 in that space, 1, 2, and then stretch it out. I can see you need 1 there. All right, in that space right there, I need 2. Just kind of open it up, just pull it out a little bit so that you can See exactly where you need to put. Give me some yarn, check it, make sure nothing's going off track. That side, the right side, which is what I want to look real nice, looks just great. Alright, check and see. I see I've done that one, and there's a big space, so I need to put 2 there. And 2. And 1. Then 2, 1, 2, then 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, let's see. Open it up, check it, see how it looks, see if there's, make sure it's not doing any kind of ruffle. There's the right side, the nice side. Alright, let's go keep going. Since I made it this far to open it up, I see I need to do 1 there. Then right there I need to do 2. Oops. Then 1, 2, open it up so you can see. 1, almost to the end. Then there needs to be 2 in that large space. 1, 2, go to, there's one, a single right there. 1, and then there's a space. Don't forget that space, the last space. I need to do 2. Although I didn't count anything, I just use the visual of the stitch to just fill in to get across. I'm trying not to have a ruffle or it all bunched up. Look at that. Nice, and the front side looks real nice. Alright, so then of course I get here to my 8, and I have to make sure I get 8 on this side. So take your time and go into each double crochet. And that you had the right number. Let's see now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got to 7, but I'm going to have to go into this post right here to make it 8, because I went there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I skip one? Oh, I may have skipped one. Wait, look. See, did you see that hole there? I think I skipped one. Let's go back. I pulled it back. Okay, I should go here. Then go there. Oops. Then I'll count again. Into that last stitch. Now let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I skipped one, so careful, but just count it to make sure once you get the right number, then you're just back in business. Pull a little yarn, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. At the very end, you know, I trim some of this, and then I simply pull the yarn. I follow the yarn back to almost to the edge here, and then I slowly pull that yarn to close and make a knot, and then I will weave in that however many chains. If your chain is real long, just snip it off about, leave it like this much, maybe 2, 3 inches. Alright, once I chain 3, now I'm ready to turn the work, and now we're just going to double crochet into double crochets to make this border. It just finishes off the back edge really nice. I'll get the original back, but let me just, so you just go across. I'm not going to go across the whole thing. Just want to do a few so that we can look at it. No ruffling, looks nice. See, now when you're wearing it, this will be at the bottom. And your lace edge will be at the top, at your neck. That's what I was trying to say the other time. I'm telling you, we got to stop meeting like this. Look, I don't know you like that. These 12, 1, and 2 o'clock rendezvous here. Okay, listen to my voice. Can you hear my voice cracking? Okay, so I just wanted to do a little bit just so that you can see how it lines up and how nice and flat it lays. Does that make sense? Again, we are putting on the bottom edge of the shrug. Now, if I was all off camera on all of this, I'm going to be so mad. Okay, now let me get the original. The back. I think we can bring this puppy on home now. Alright, so this is what you're adding right there. Now, since I did, see, there's a reason for my madness. Since I had 8 double crochets, when I got to this border, I added on the bottom, I did 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 4 rows of double crochet on this bottom edge. Since I had 8 double crochets, and that way it gave it the same weight. See, it gives it the same weight or the same look. And if I did a couple of rows, it would look really strange. You have this big border over on this side, the 8 double crochets for a border, and then have a little small edge here. So I just took half of 8, that's 4, so I'd do 4 rows. 1, you can just count 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, for this bottom edge. You see it goes all the way across. Then, then all you have to do is just fold the piece of fabric. Now you got a big piece of fabric, right? And you got a big old long piece of fabric. You just fold it in half. Just fold it in half and bring the pieces down so that these 2 edges, the double crochets, where I did 8 double crochets, you will put those 2 together. You'll make sure they're nice and straight. I guess if I turn it this way, it would make more sense. And then you're going to just stitch up, but you're going to leave it. Don't go all the way to the end because you need to leave it, because you need to try this on and see how it fits and feels. Whether you need 7 inches, 7.5, 8 inches, whatever you're going to need for your sleeve. But I would sew it up just a little bit, leave it. Go to the neck, go to the opposite side, sew it up the same, try it on, go to the mirror, and then you can keep adjusting the arm space. And of course, voila, you'll have this side done, that side done. I'm going to take a, see, I left along. I haven't sewn anything in. Here we go. See, I can just pull it out if I see that the arm space needs to be a little larger because I have not tied anything off. See? Just pull it out a little bit. So I may leave a little extra space. Maybe because I'm used to making sweaters, I may have made my arm space a little tight. So I can pull it back. All right. Then once you get that all done, of course, you try it on, you go to the mirror, and when you put it on, the scallop edge is the back of the neck, and you put your arms in, and here is your pretty bottom, just nice finish double crochet at least 4 rows. Make sense? Now let's just turn it back and I'm going to back way out. Alright, so now we're back to where we started. I've sewn up as far as I wanted to go. There's nothing to do on the neck because it forms its own scallop. And the bottom we put a nice little band just to help it hold its shape. See how the bottom, I'm going to pull it up so you can see the bottom. See how it comes down and then it goes across and it just holds the shape of the shrug. Does that make sense? Sorry, as much as I can get on there. And you can see where I've sewn up and where the arm space is. And then once I'm happy with that, then and only then do you tie it off and then run your little strands on this side, on the inside, and weave it in. And as you can see, I still have my contrasting yarns up until the very end so that I know when I'm sewing that I don't sew, get all the sides, wrong side, right side. I know how to sew it together. You can crochet it together. You don't have to sew. If sometimes I do good at sewing crochet and sometimes I don't. Or you could just simply slip stitch it on the wrong side, or you can single crochet, however you'd like to sew or to join the two borders together. But it makes a nice wide border as you go up to the armhole, and then I don't add anything else. I wouldn't add any other thing to the arm space. I think it just ends off fine, just like it is. Unless you're a picot person and you're going to add picot to all. Some people like picots on everything now. So I just left mine plain. And there you have it. The only thing I need now is a name. And like I said, I'm going to look at the calendar and kind of use, she had some pretty words on the calendar. To kind of help me, give me an idea. So, you know what? It's late, but there's nothing like a finish. And it's nothing like keeping life simple. A simple stitch, simple rectangle, put a little border on there, fold it in half, and voila. There's just so much on the YouTube, such beautiful projects everywhere. It's hard to think of new things or things that... So, like I said, I just think simple. As long as I can think simple and keep the stitch simple, I just do my own thing. I got it out of one of our stitch books. And I'm going to do some stitch book reviews coming up. I've got some of that. I don't necessarily have new books. I just have books I haven't shown you that I need to share. So you'll know where I get my stitches. I get them out of stitch books. And then I just use the whole stitch or part of the stitch, add my little borders or whatever I need to add, and voila. We have designed a nice, pretty, simple project. Well, I hope you give this a try. I hope you take some pretty pictures when you finish one. Try it in different colors, different threads, from this is number 4 down. I don't think it will flow good if you went up higher, in thicker yarn. But please feel free to send me beautiful pictures. You see how I do the beautiful showcase to let people know who you are and what you're doing. And if you're on the YouTube, I put your YouTube name up there. So people can simply, they can find you from that. At least they'll know that, oh, here's another YouTuber. So, this is Jay. I don't have any idea what time it is, but it's got to be close to 3 in the morning. But you know what? We got to finish. So, thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, please take care. Give yourself the permission to rest. Turn the TV off a little bit, put some music on, and then, of course, then you have to go back and watch like I do. We watch and we pray for that God will protect our children. Maybe they're not my children per se, but they are children that belongs to someone. They are loved, and they are loved by someone. Someone wants them to come home. But I thank God for giving them the strength to take the lead. So we just send our prayers out to all the young people for their protection. So, like I said, again, this is Jay, and I will be seeing you later.